Chairman, we're now live.
Good afternoon and a warm welcome to those attending and to our viewers watching live on the Council's YouTube channel, Hillingdon, London. This is for the Licensing Subcommittee hearing on Monday, 3rd of July. My name is Councillor Roy Chamdale. I'm chairing the meeting. Details of the business to be considered today are shown on the agenda, copies of which are accessible online under the live broadcast. And for everybody that's present in the room, when you speak, please remember to use a microphone to switch it on and off, otherwise you will not be heard. Fire alarms, bit of housekeeping. I'm not expecting a fire alarm. If it goes off, it's the real thing. Please follow Liz, and we'll meet outside the Miller's Tap, which is rather apt for a licensing hearing. Mobile devices, switch them off or put them on silent. We do not want them going off at all. It disturbs, and it's not good. Right. If you have a declarations of interest, councillors, to today's agenda, please ensure that if there is a pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest, let me move on to that. Attendance roll call. Well, I've mentioned who I am. I would like you to introduce yourselves, going from right to left, going all the way around, and tell me who you are and why you're here.
Good afternoon. My name is Chantal McLeod. I'm the legal advisor for today's subcommittee hearing.
Good afternoon. My name is Councillor Becky Hagger.
Good afternoon. My name is Councillor Nelson West.
Good afternoon, Chair. I'm Graham Hopkins, and this lady to my left is Linda Potter, both from GT Licensing Consultants.
Good afternoon. I'm Mr. Rasalingam Nandakumar.
And my name is Ganesalingam Satish. I'm a DPS.
Hi, I am good afternoon. I am Sundaram Siskandaraya, is a manager for the business.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeannie Mukherjee, the licensing officer for today's hearing. Thank you.
And good afternoon. I'm Liz Penny, Democratic Services Officer. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I'll explain how the subcommittee works. Although you have it in the agenda annex, it's always good to understand how we run things here. Everybody gets a chance to make their case, one by one. The committee only has a chance then to ask questions on what has been presented. We then move on to a discussion which the chair will lead, and any questions you want to ask, you go for the chair. You can ask questions to whoever you like. Then at the end, there's a closing remark in reverse order, a brief closing remark before you all leave. Take all your bits and pieces with you, and then the committee will deliberate, and then we'll come back with a decision. You can wait for the decision, or this can then it can be posted to them, or you can watch it on YouTube. Okay? Great stuff. Right, we'll start off with the agenda. Any apologies for absence?
No apologies, Chairman.
Any declarations of interest coming before the meeting, councillors? None? Everything's in part 1, and matters that have been notified in advance or urgent, no addendums, nothing? No? Okay, right, we can shoot on. Ginny, fire away.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. You will have all received the report bundle and will be familiar with it. So we have an application for a new premises license. The premises is a corner 2-storied unit located in an industrial estate and is outside any main residential areas in South Ruislip. It's called Grand View, and the address is Unit 1, 10 Stonefield Way, Ruislip, HA4 0JS. The application has been made by Mr. Nandakumar Rasalingam, who is with us today. The premises proposes to operate as a venue hosting various private events where there will be a vetting process before someone can book the venue. The application is seeking an authorization for the sale of alcohol for consumption on the premises from Monday to Sunday between 0900 hours and 2300 hours. There is one representation for this application received from Ward Councillor Richard Mills on 5th of June 2023. During the consultation period, the applicant had a meeting with the responsible authorities Following that, the applicant has agreed to additional conditions which were recommended to him by the Metropolitan Police and the Licensing Authority. These have been listed under paragraph 3.7 on page 4 of the agenda pack. Councillor Mills has been informed about this update over an email sent out to him on Friday, 9th of June 2023. This was with the idea to find out if the additional conditions address and allay Councillor Mills' initial concerns. A more detailed account of the concerns raised by Councillor Mills can be found on page 8 under paragraph 7.2 of the agenda pack. Under the same paragraph, you will also find the mitigation provided by the applicant for each of those issues to support and uphold the licensing objectives. That's page 8, paragraph 7.2. I now invite the committee to determine this application, giving due consideration to the application, the additional conditions, and the single objection received for this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Ginny. You mentioned outside any residence. What's the nearest distance of resident houses, flats, whatever, to the venue?
It's on the other side of the road, quite far away. I don't have an exact number, Chairman.
Half a mile, 100 yards, 200 yards, 400 yards?
No, in miles.
It's a fair distance?
Yes.
Thank you. Also, you mentioned there was one representation made. Was there anything from the police, anti-ASB team, or anybody else?
There was nothing from the ASB team. The Met Police and the Licensing Authority both had a meeting with the applicant, and they wanted further conditions to be added onto the license, which the applicant has agreed to.
So what's that? Yes or no? I think so. There's no objection from the.
No, there's just one representation from Councillor Richard Mills. Thank you.
Councillors, any clarifications, questions on what's been presented? Councillor Hagar.
Yes, thank you. Mine's just around the public safety. Could you just explain the car parking? We've got obviously a picture of the car parking there.
Sorry, we've got to wait until they have their go.
Right, okay.
Just on that. That's all right.
Thank you.
No worries.
Sorry, that'll be later.
You're prepared. Any questions? Any other questions? No? On what's been presented by Ginny? No, you're okay. Right, thank you. Right, we move on. There's 5 of you there. Whoever would like to speak first, just let us know who it is first. I'm very keen when I listen to any applications at the subcommittee that the applicant speaks. I understand these are professionals, but I'm very keen on the guys who are actually going to be running the show on what they do and how they do it. Thank you.
Chair, my clients are quite happy to speak to the subcommittee. I've asked them to do that at the end, if that's convenient. I'm very grateful to your licensing officer. She's done all my opening for me. Thank you very much. As you've heard, Chair, the venue's going to be an event venue and a banqueting suite, especially for the Tamil and Sri Lankan community. Weddings, other functions, celebrations and events. The ground floor will be for functions and the first floor as a banqueting hall and space. The maximum capacity at the venue is 150 excluding staff. Since my principal, who's the solicitor who's acting in the case, and I got involved in this, there was an original agent who's, should we say, not doing it anymore. They had made a clangor with the plans. If you look at the plans submitted, members, you've got the ground floor and another unit to the right that's excluded. This is actually a 2-storey building, so you've got 2 blocks of 2 stories linked by a common area, the reception to the front, and I think an open space to the back. I've got outline plans of the upper floor. We managed to obtain those late yesterday afternoon. So we've got the detailed one of the ground floor that's been submitted, and we've got the upper floor in its outline form. what if I was going to ask the committee is or subcommittee, if you're minded to grant it today, whether you would allow us to give a condition the premises will not be used for licensable activity until the revised plans have been submitted and approved by the licensing authority, because I think they both need some more work on them. But that would be my suggestion if that's acceptable to the subcommittee. So it wasn't our fault, wasn't the solicitor's fault. When we both looked at the papers over the weekend, it was quite obvious that somebody left the top floor. So whether members want to decide that now or at the end, obviously that's your decision, Chair.
Karen, sorry, this is an opportunity for you to make your representation in full.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
I don't disturb you unless I feel you repeating the same point. You're not going nowhere. That's when I will interject. Until then, this is your opportunity, sir, all of you, to make your case.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is the time you have to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Obviously, my client gave very careful consideration to the location, hence the fact that he has chosen the industrial site rather than a unit within a residential area. Now, you were asking about the nearest housing. I think this was in the agenda pack, but we've got a plan. This is if I hold it up, this is the industrial estate at the bottom. The venue is there, the black mark. That is the nearest housing, and it's on the other side of, looks like Victoria Road. That could be housing there. I think it is, yes. It's some distance away. There's the venue, Victoria Road, and the nearest housing is here. Quite happy for the panel to have that in that plan, if that helps. So they chose the premises on the industrial estate to keep the venue away from residential properties and ensure that the local residents were not disturbed by music breakout or people noise or people departing the site. It does have adequate parking. For instance, if you look at Appendix 6 of the agenda, there's a statement from Mr. Ratner, Mr. Ratner, if I get it right.
Sorry, Mr. Hopkins, could you just make reference to the page numbers?
I'm sorry.
It makes it a lot easier for me from the information page.
It's page 49 on, Chair. And it's a letter signed by Mr. Niraj and his solicitor. That sets out that the lease that Mr. Well, of course, just say my client has at the moment, with Mr. Niraj includes the outside parking spaces. On your plan it will be shown in red. I've got another plan here somewhere that shows detailed parking, which should be in your papers as well. But there is adequate parking, and the landlord has confirmed that is included in the lease and available for my client to use for parking at his venue. As you will have read, Chair, the proposed licence hours for on-sales of alcohol are 9 till 11 daily a week, and the opening times are 9 till midnight. Our client's chosen those hours, again, because he doesn't want to cause noise disturbance to any nearby residents, and he doesn't want to run into the late night time economy. It's a venue for weddings, as I've said, that sort of events, not a nightclub or anything similar. We have asked for the closing time to be an hour rather than the usual half hour, to allow more time for people to finish any food or drink they've got, to say goodbye. If it's a wedding, people don't just say goodbye and run out the door. It's an affectionate and family-loving event, so they're going to go around. So we've given them that time to break up peacefully, to leave the site, to get their cars, not have to tear out the building and all the rest of it, but to do it sensibly and in a gradual, quiet way. The client has agreed the notices, as you will have seen. We have agreed, amongst other things, that from any event that finishes after 10 o'clock, there will be a traffic marshal in the car park, at least one, wearing a high-vis. Their job will be to aid in dispersal and in directing traffic away from the site, because I think that was one of the councillors' concerns as well, the one-way scheme. I couldn't quite work out one-way scheme, looking at the photos of the site, but apparently it's got a one-way scheme. They will be directed away as per the instructions of the site, which my client will be fully aware of. So we have, as you've heard, proposed original conditions, the original agent proposed some more, which was a little bit confusing, and then we had the police and the licensing authority. I suggest he's demonstrated already that he's a responsible operator and wants to be a responsible operator because he's accepted all the conditions recommended to him, and I'm sure by the time we finish talking to him, he'll know how to apply them backwards. We do include all the measures you'd expect to see, CCTV, etc., but for example, if there's more than 100 people, there'll be at least 2 SIA door supervisors, in addition to the traffic marshal after 11 o'clock, after 10 o'clock. We've got a noise limiter to try and stop noise escape through loud music. For my knowledge of the Sri Lankan community, the music's not heavy drum beat, but if it was from other parts, say, I've got clients who've got a Nigerian venue, and it's forever getting into trouble because the bass is so heavy. So we thought the noise limiter would be a good idea, doors and windows closed, all that sort of thing, and they will have a written dispersal policy which staff will be required to be trained in and to apply during the course of their duties. Mr. Rasalingham himself is new to this type of business chair. However, Mr. Ganesalingham to the right is the proposed DPS, has held a personal licence since 2005. He's been a DPS and deputy manager and a DPS and manager of retail outlets and a cash and carry outlet. And since 2015, July 2015, Mr. Ganesalingham has operated his own company to manage and organise events. Most recent event he ran was a traditional Asian wedding and reception party in Crystal Palace on the 22nd of May this year. He also has experience of organising events at the Albany Theatre in Coventry, Waters Meets, which I believe is some sort of event in Rickmansworth, a school in Wembley, and the Satavis Centre in Wembley, amongst others. So he brings that experience gained over the past, if I get it right, 8 years, to this venue. So although we've got a new operator stroke director of the company, we have a highly experienced DPS who will be able to understand and apply these conditions if members grant the licence today. There are no representations from any responsible authority, agreement having been reached with the police and the licensing authority, and it's just as important, the noise team haven't made a representation on any grounds. They haven't expressed any concern about music, people, noise, traffic departing, etc., which is quite pleasing from our perspective. I would suggest, Chair, that the responsible authorities believe the licensing objectives will be fully promoted and that the event will not cause noise or other nuisance. Secondly, there are no representations from any local resident. The very people liable to be most effective have not seen the need to make a representation, nor have any of the businesses on the site. Again, I would suggest that's because the application hasn't caused them any concern. I think the robust measures, if the residents were aware of them, would have helped to deter them needing to make a representation. Plus, you have got that distance, and I'm quite happy to hand that plan over for you to see afterwards. There is one representation from the councillor. I did email him on Saturday morning, once we got heavily involved in this, asking him if he wanted to attempt mediation. I didn't get a reply. That's his right, of course, and you will consider his representation as written. But the councillor says there's insufficient parking. I think we've addressed that. You've got the witness statement from Mr. Niraj that sets out that my client can use the parking on site. It's included in his rent, and that's there. He's got the lease till 2045. So I think plenty of time to build up your business. Mr. Niraj is the licence holder or leaseholder of the premises, which he holds under the terms of the main lease. We've also got, as I say, the councillor's concerns about the one-way system, but we have the traffic marshal. It's a minimum of one, not just one all the time. If we need more, they will have more. But we're also likely to have the 2 SIA that can be brought in to help on dispersal. I'm grateful to the officer in her report that she points out the antisocial behaviour team have not made a representation, nor have the police. And the officer queries whether the concern about the one-way system, I believe, and the other points is still valid. The last point that the Councillor Mills raises is late-night activity will cause public nuisance. I would draw your attention, if I may, Chair, to the various conditions agreed with the authorities, detailed at paragraph 3.7 I'll give you the page number. Page 4. And that goes on for 2 or 3 pages from page 4. You'll see the measures there, specifically under prevention of public nuisance that clients have agreed to. As I said, we got the noise limiter, doors and windows shut, public notices, SIA, we've got a traffic marshal to prevent people all bombing off or driving off at once, and our dispersal period at the end to ensure that dispersal is staggered. I would suggest to the panel that our client has addressed the issues raised by the councillor. Point out, as I say, that no resident, the most affected people, have complained, nor have your noise team. And I think the conditions we've agreed, the hours and the site itself, will ensure that the licensing objectives are fully promoted. The councillor's representation does lack evidence or evidential value in my mind. It's not got anything. He just made the 3 comments and that's it. So we couldn't address any more because there was nothing else to address. So I would ask you to concur that they have met the standard required and to grant the licence, please. Did you want to say anything? Anybody want to say anything? I think the councillors might want to hear from you.
As from the previous meeting, what we agreed, we just add that to our contract as well to make sure it's all will be, as agreed, we will follow it. And also, we already have preparing the sign to make sure that one-way system will be followed, and also we will have people in place to do the, like a parking warden, as Mr. Graham mentioned. Mostly he has mentioned it, and also the CCTV. It's already, CCTV is fitted everywhere, all around the building and inside the hall, and that's recording and monitoring regularly, and any officials can view that, or we can provide the records. And also we have a non-smoking policy, even in the car park except a designated place. And the sound limiter is, we have ordered, and the electricity has already been done. So we are waiting for the sensors to be fitted in. So on the success of application, we will make sure everything will be in place within 2 weeks before we commence any hiring or anything. And the signages, sign posts everywhere, like fire exits, no right turn, toilets, and also the hirer have to comply with these conditions. Even decorators and the equipment will be used in the building. It has to be tested, and it has to follow the sound limiter and car park attendant. And the rest he has already mentioned. And also on the higher terms and conditions, we will have limited maximum clients and parking space. The car parking also, we have a maximum amount of car parking. The client has to agree on the booking. Thank you.
Mr. Raslingham, would you like to say anything? I think it's a good idea to. If not, no. Okay, don't worry. Is that your presentation done, yeah? Okay, I'm going to ask some questions. I'll start off first. I'll start off with you, Mr. Wrestling. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What experience do you have in running party venues or halls such as this?
What experience?
What's your background?
Can I say?
Well, I'll reiterate, I'm very keen for the applicant to be answering this. Okay. Yeah? I'm not here to catch you out, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. I just need to understand who you are, what you're going to operate. This is not a trap. This is just for me to understand, me and the committee to understand who you are.
Yeah, this is my first time business.
So what do you normally do?
Building work.
Well, anybody else can answer these questions now, because right, you say on page 4 the maximum capacity at the venue, excluding staff, is 150. On the plans, if you could just tell me, on the plans on page 32, they show 136 seating. So where's the other 14 going to sit?
Plan is 136, but the very maximum where they can seat it on the...
Oh, right.
That's the maximum.
Yeah, but the planes are all... Chair, the capacity of the 2 floors, that's my understanding, is a maximum of 150, but they've got 136 seats. All that you're looking at is in Unit 1A, if I'm right, and that's the ground floor. There is an upper floor as well, which unfortunately, as I explained, the previous agent didn't submit the plan. That's the complication. So that capacity, they are limited, of course, to 1 wedding at any time. They can't have 1 on the ground floor and 1 on the first. So it wouldn't double up the capacity. It is 150 tops.
Okay, we'll come back to that later on. Parking. How many spaces do you have as a number, please? While Mr. Hopkins is counting that up, I can ask another question. On page 5, you've got something written there, toughened glass shall be used. What is that?
I'll do both, Chair, if I may. I've counted 33 spaces on their site.
Mr. Hopkins, I just need a number, not a guess, not maybe, not if. I just need to have a number so for the committee can understand how many parking spaces. Take your time, and in the meantime, yeah. And as with the plans, we can only review and go through things what's presented before us. If we have plans which are not here, unfortunately, I can listen to what you say, yes, which is quite right. But I go through the plans. I spent many hours in the last few days going through these, every dot and I's and tick the T's. So take your time. So in the meanwhile, could somebody tell me about your toughened glass on page 5, point number 9? What is toughened glass?
It's glass that if you drop it on the floor, it doesn't break into shards and points. It breaks rather like a car windscreen.
Also on page 4, you said, this is again on what you presented, there shall be an effective management arrangements in place to monitor how many people are there in the premises. How are you going to do that?
If the door staff are on duty, the SIA, they'll have counters, click counters, and I will be suggesting to the DPS that when we don't have, if the number's lower than 100, and they don't have SIA, that he has a counter. So that's how we'll control people in and out. You can take 1 off as they go out, put 1 on as they come in.
Is that a proposed condition now you're offering, that in addition to how it's going to manage, I understand, so is this what you're proposing?
Yes, Chair.
You mentioned traffic marshals. Now, are these going to be trained traffic marshals, or is it going to be somebody just who's in the management team who will be directing traffic?
It will be trained marshals.
And you mentioned the one-way street. Yes, I know the area very well. I don't live too far away from there. It is a one-way system, and it is a very, very big road. Lorries go. 2 lorries can pass either way. You mentioned a noise limiter. What kind of doors exit out of the building from the venue where the music is going to be taking place? Is it double doors or? Right, that's good. And have you spoken to your neighbours in terms of the surrounding areas? around what operation is going to be taking place, and have you given your contact details so they're aware of if there were issues that are raised, that there will be a contact immediately?
The straight close neighbours, we have already given our details, but further down, no, sir.
We speak to the next one.
Yeah.
Chair, there is a requirement on page 6, condition 10, under public nuisance. They would have to make the contact number available to the police, any authorised officer of the authority, or any local resident who requests it. And I think my clients are quite happy to pass it around the local units.
Thank you. On the same page 6, on point 9, how would you manage the smoking? It says not more than 5 persons at a time. How will you manage that?
They will, if the capacity, if the number of guests exceeds 100, by agreement with the police anyway, they will have 2 SIA licensed door supervisors. So if there's more than 100 or more, they will manage that. Otherwise, a member of the management team, DPS, and the licence holder will manage it.
Councillors, any questions on the presentation given? Councillor Haggard.
I can ask my question now. I do apologise. I just want to know, can you confirm the number of marshals that be on during the day? So I'm guessing that obviously, it'd be an event. There could be an event during the day. It could be a big family event. So how many marshals will you have during the day?
The 2 minimum, parking marshal for the car parks, and like a floor staff, including floor staffs, we will have 3 first. Floor staff and DPS will be there, and manager, supervisor, because I will be the supervisor for the event. So and car parking staff. And then we will have cleaners and porters. But the minimum of 2 parking wardens, the parking marshals will be in place.
Okay, so just to get that clear, that's a minimum of 2 marshals will be doing the car parking during the day. Yeah. Can I ask another question, Chair?
Fire away.
Thank you. I just wanted to know about, because you did explain about the control in leaving the venue, but could you just explain that again? Because I was just trying to imagine 150, say, tops, people trying to leave the venue. Can you just explain how that's going to be controlled, please?
Well, I think it's fair to say, obviously, if we've got 150, they will have to have 2 door supervisors for a start, in addition to the taxi marshal. Now, in fact, I've said 1 taxi marshal if the event goes past 10. That's the condition agreed with the authorities. I think in practice, colleagues just said there'll be at least 2 taxi marshals. So we'd have the 4, and if they needed, other members of staff could be asked to stand on the door and tell people to leave quietly. That's what we want to achieve, is when they leave, they see the notice, but the last words they're told is, thank you for coming, and please leave quietly, respect the residents. Because that's the last thing people will remember. We don't expect this is going to be the sort of venue. It's a wedding, a wedding function, that people are going to be out just to get drunk. So they're not going to. A lot of them will be driving anyway. So it will be a lower key event rather than standing in the pub just swilling beer all night. It's not that type of venue. This is a Sri Lankan venue, and it's. I was privileged to have my first neighbours were Sri Lankan for 14 years. So I got used to the culture, and it's not about getting drunk.
Can I just clarify that, because I wasn't quite sure. Is that okay, Chair? Sorry, I just want to clarify how, so I suppose what I'm asking is how many people are going to be coming out at one time? So if we're controlling the leaving, are you saying to me like there'll be 20 people come out and then it will stop, and then a further, what's the numbers?
But it's hard to say, Councillor, because I haven't seen their dispersal policy yet. They've got to draft that. But that will be covered in the dispersal policy, no doubt in tandem with the security company. But normally, as you know, when you have a public house, for example, it might shut at 11, everybody out by half 11. They've asked for the hour So the drink stops and food stops at 11 at night. We've given them an hour to disperse, so there's a longer period, so we don't have to rush. As I was saying earlier, bear in mind that a lot of these events at night will be weddings. People might take 10 minutes to say goodbye to their family, but they'll go out. So I would envisage probably no more than 10 or 12 at one time, and then there's going to be a break while they say goodbye to the next part of the family and so on. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
I'm new on this, so it's all a bit new to me. But I just wondered as well, where are we talking about weddings 7 days a week? Have we got any idea? Are we talking about continued like Monday right the way through? And obviously you've got the licensing hours through, but I just wondered, give us an idea on how many functions we're looking at.
Normally,
Okay.
Normally they do, it's a special day we have for Tamil wedding. But it's a two kind of Tamil wedding. It's a traditional Tamil wedding, other one is a reception. It's reception time, there people are ringing. So it's a Tamil wedding time, they are not ringing, only vegetarian. So there are no issue. But it's a monthly, averagely maximum 10, depend on the, sometime 2, sometime 1. We have a special day for that wedding. Not all the day they are doing. They are looking at our religion, time and date and everything. So most of the people, they do daytime. The reception only they do evening time. It's a Tamil wedding mostly coming daytime. So daytime they are not drinking or use any alcohol. They are pure vegetarian. It's in the Tamil wedding time. So it's not any issue coming to the people moving. When the people moving, not 150 people going to move. When they're going hi bye, so they're talking each other and slowly they're moving. Maybe at the time 1 car or 2 car going to move. It's not going to all the car queue up and moving the one way. So they're taking time because they all come relative, not the unknown people. They all know people. So when they come in, they are sister-in-law, brother-in-law, mother-in-law, grandchild, granddaughter. So they are taking time to move. So they are slowly they move. So it's they are keeping protect. So when they move each other, so they give way. Okay, you can go first, or we come back. So they give away. So they politely they do everything. So that's this a community. It's not doing the it's a business, but it's a community service.
Okay. Any other questions, councillors? On what's been presented?
Yes, you said about signs being put up, signs for the one-way system. You're going to put those signs up yourself, you said? Yes.
Yes, that's right.
And my question, same as you as chair, was how many parking spaces as well?
30.
Well done. I was going to come back to that, Councillor West.
Thank you.
We've got that now, it's 38.
Well done. Right. We've had representation from Councillor Mills written. That's been taken on board and noted. We now move on to the discussion stage. Since there's not many of us here, I think we started already, really. I'll start off. Right, this 38 parking space, do you feel that is sufficient for 150 patrons plus staff? How many staff are you talking about?
Yes, I think we told is enough because not all the people are coming to the car. It's most of the people coming to the public. We have a nearest just 2 minutes away from their bus service there. Just 7 minutes walk from the South Ruislip underground station there. So who is coming from East London or some other place, they use the public transport. So there's 150 enough car park there because our family wedding, normally wedding, there are 1 car coming, 1 family for 4 people minimum, averagely. So if you roughly 40 car is coming to 160 people. So it's more than enough if everyone come to the car. So mostly people coming to 50-50. 50 people come to the public transport, 50% people come to the own vehicle. So that's the most they do. At the time if we do the reception, most people now is come to the taxi because after the ring they don't like the driving. So most people, because our community, second generation, third generation, they are developed, so they use the taxi most of the time. So it's a car park is it's enough for us, I think.
Yeah, I'm not quite sold on that, sir. I mean, 38 parking spaces, 4 people per car is 152. How do you get to this conclusion of 50% of your visitors are going to come by either train or by taxi? What data is there to show that, or is it just you plucked it out of the sky? I mean, what experience have you got in terms of that would support this statement that you've made?
Because it's I am doing so many events in UK last 30 years, so just practical experience I am just explaining to you. It's because in West London area, North London, East London, I do the event management, and also I manage the marketing also. So most of the people, they are traveling to the event. So that's the experience I am just explaining. It's not agreement.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Right, you mentioned your drinking up time, should we say, what we used to call it in the old days. You're asking for an hour. Would it be an issue if it was reduced to what it normally is, which is half an hour? So from 9 to 23:30.
Yes, Chair, they could accept that. The only reason, as I explained to your colleague, that they asked for longer was to give people more time to break up quietly.
No, I get that totally. 150 people going out, the exit is staggered. I get that, and I got it quite right. In terms of the manager as well. I forgot your name. Siri. Okay. I'm just these traffic marshals. So they're going to be deployed outside the venue and across the road, because I can see how somebody could easily go around the wrong way. So the signs that Councillor West was mentioning as well. So in terms of, are these sort of permanent signs or is it temporary signs?
Yeah, we can make.
We do permanent sign, and also outside have already one signboard there, the blue signboard.
The blue signboard which belongs to the transport.
Yeah.
But we are making a signboard. No right turn sign on the right side of before the exit.
Yeah.
There should be a sign on the right, shows no right turn, because that's only a left turn. One way.
Yeah.
Mr. Hopkins mentioned something about plans not being submitted. The plans do not show the actual venue, how it is. So, and you mentioned this second floor. So, if you the plan that you have submitted shows 136 people with a stage. So I mentioned the staff as well. You haven't come back to how many staff you're going to have at these functions. But I'm just concerned about 136 seating plan capacity here, plus whatever on the stage and staff. What's the capacity for this other floor? Have you got the plan there?
I've got an outline, Chair.
Yeah, if somebody could just bring it over to me so I can have a look, please. Right, sorry, councillors, there's only one here, but there really is nothing wrong there at all. You've got Unit 1, if you could explain it to me, if you write down what the question I'm asking, so then replying one here. So you've basically got Unit 1C with first floor, and you've got many little rooms there. What are those rooms? So those are all changing rooms, yeah? These are all changing rooms. So what's this area here then?
Oh, there is a bar area.
First floor.
First floor, yeah. First floor, small kitchen in the back, and 3 room for the changing room.
Okay, so 3 changing rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see. And
Yeah,
the
and the
back
one
end,
that
we change not over because
one kitchen.
yeah, and toilet was there.
No, toilet
No
already there.
Oh.
I think it would be helpful if the plan is given back to you, and for you just to outline what these rooms are, what's happening in those rooms, and also the capacity. Are you planning to have members of the public upstairs as well as the first floor as well as the ground floor? I think that needs to be clarified.
Chair, my understanding is the answer to the question is yes. That second plan was supposed to have been lodged by the original agent, and for some reason they didn't.
If you could just go into the points that Chantal has made, if you could just write down the details exactly, so we know what we're considering, please. Let's start again. Right, in the plans, you've got the kitchen, the fire exit, food area, changing rooms, and the bar's in the food area, yeah? Somewhere. Oh, the box, that's the bar, yeah? So would that mean, if I'm correct in understanding, were there to be alcohol served, people would have to come from downstairs to upstairs, have a drink, and then come downstairs? Okay. Councillors, any questions? And Ginny as well, if you want to ask any questions. Councillor West.
Thank you, Chair. They said about the one-way system, said no right turn. From what I can remember, Stonefield Park, maybe I'm wrong from what I've been got up there, I think they're on the same side as Lidl. So if you're coming out of your venue from according to this map, from what I can see here, you said no right turn, but I think you'll have to turn right to go around the one-way system if I got it right. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, we are behind Wicks, not the same side of Lidl. It's right opposite side of Lidl, other side of the road.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
It's a big
Little, they have a both,
two-way road. Yeah.
after that narrow road. Only
And then one way starts. Yeah, it's actually our building is behind the Wicks, opposite the cruise peak.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the location.
Thank you, Chair.
I know it well. Don't have a park at Screwfix. Sorry. Any other questions? Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. Come.
Just want to go, I know the area as well actually, these fiddles, but just to clarify, did you say, and I know you've answered this question, I didn't hear you properly, did you say there was only going to be one wedding venue on per day, or two, or three, or four? Sorry, I didn't quite clearly hear.
It's a one.
That's condition agreed with the authority.
You've also noted in your conditions that no alcohol be served if there's the events for under 18s. What kind of events are you planning for this?
No, it's when the people are coming, it's for reception, example, wedding reception. They are not coming to the family. They are only overage people can use that.
Question is different.
Which one? Okay, you can go ahead.
If we have, because we are planning to have little children community programs as well, so in that case, so we are not going to serve the alcohol at all. Yeah.
So if you're going to have youngsters there, how are you going to manage traffic? Because as I mentioned before, I do know the area, I do know that road, and you have lots and lots of trucks going down there. How will that be managed, please?
Our function mostly weekend most of them they are not trucks, and also it's weekdays. It's certain days only they coming to our special day.
So are you saying, from what I understand, they'll be all coming by car or
No,
by
it's
public transport or
it's
taxis?
Yeah,
it is a genuine concern because this is a very, very busy road. Look, being knocked over is not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Being knocked over by a lorry is fatal. So the question is just, in terms of your management scheme, how are you going to manage this? So that's, I need to understand, how are you going to manage this?
Okay, first of all, as I have just mentioned, we are planning, and because if we can go through with it, and then we are planning to, like these under 18s, if we have in place, of course, in the conditions, they must have an adult with them in first place, and also if they come by public transport, we will have extra people on site to bring them in and out with high vis on.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Okay, right. We now move on closing remarks. Can I emphasise brief closing remarks, please? So we'll start off with Ginny first. Any remarks?
I have nothing further to add, Chairman.
We've got nothing from Councillor Mills, so to yourselves, any one person, just a closing remarks? Very brief. You don't have to, but if you want to.
I think we've covered everything, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. All right. We're now going to deliberation stage. So if you'd like to take everything, all your bags and everything with you, and then we'll call you back when we finish deliberating, sir. Thank you.